Yeah.
Cool. Okay then. So, welcoming back to Gromcast for the second time. We
Thank
have
you.
Luke Williamson again. Obviously, we were going to be having a catch up post Leogang World Cup, but you had a fairly good
Yeah,
reason to not be at the Leogang World Cup, didn't you?
I do. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I suffered a concussion a few weeks back
Hmm.
in Chompery. I was there before. It was the weekend before Leogang World Cup. Um, had some stuff to test on the bike. The parts actually didn't end up arriving, but I had some new brakes to try anyway.
Uh huh.
So I was riding there on Sunday and had a crash, and unfortunately hit my head and ended up in hospital with a concussion.
So, talk us through the crash. Like, what actually happens to?
See, this is the issue with one of
Can't
the
remember.
issues with concussions. Yeah, I don't really know. I think I went over the top of a corner and then landed in the next one by the
Yep.
sounds of it. I was riding with some guys, had my teammate Ryan there, and then these two Swiss guys, Nils and Basil.
Hmm.
Um, so I was actually staying with the raw engineer. So they were two of his mates.
Yep.
He unfortunately had hurt himself the day before as well, so it
Uh,
wasn't really going too well.
a good week all round then. Like,
It wasn't ideal, no.
yeah.
But yeah, from what I think, so Nils was following me. I think from what he saw, it sounded like I went over the top of the corner and landed in the next. Gave my head a bit of a bang.
Ooh. Cool. So after that, then, because that was over in Chompery.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm guessing that was pretty much a straight back home and start getting assessed in some way, or what's the kind
Uh,
of what's your kind of
so
process for dealing with this?
so we went straight to a Swiss hospital, and
Hmm.
then I think so. At this point, I can't really remember a lot of what was going on. But I think I went to one hospital and then got transferred to another one, and they did all the scans and stuff, which was good.
Yep.
They were like super on it with all of that stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, got sorted out in Switzerland, and they gave us kind of an idea of what to do. I've had a concussion. Well, I've had multiple concussions in the past, so we've
Yeah.
got an idea as well of what to do. So yeah, there was some kind of. I did wonder whether we'd go to Leogang and watch and stuff, but I think that was quite
Optimistic.
quickly
Yeah.
kind of dismissed because it would it's a big event, a lot of noise and stuff. It's not
Yeah.
really. I'm not I'm not a great watcher, I guess.
Hmm.
I like to be doing it. It's
Yeah.
not very fun when you're watching something that you want to
You
be
really want to be
doing.
doing.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we went back home and got some rest.
Best thing for it. So once you've got home, have you then got like with concussions? Have you got like a recovery plan for it? Also, you've had this before.
Yeah, so last time I had a concussion was in the UK. So they gave us a leaflet that had kind of some guidance on it.
Yeah.
I think one of the main things is there's like a protocol. It's GRTP, I think,
Hmm.
graduated return to play.
Yep.
And as part of that, I think there's like, so you start that when you start feeling better.
Hmm.
So I think there's like 14 days of, staying rested and stuff. And then after that, it kind of gradually ramps up until you can get back to your sport, basically.
Yep.
I have to say, I've not got the sheet in front of me, so I can't remember the exact way it works, but it's kind of like 14 days of rest, and then you've got like 48-hour blocks, I think, of exercise that kind of ramps up. So like the first 48-hour chunk is just like 10 to 15 minutes of cardio, and
Yep.
then after that kind of ramps up, and eventually you're back to a point where you can get into your sport. But the other part of it is you have to be feeling good to move on to the next stage. So I think if you start feeling awful after one stage, you go back to the stage before and start again. So that's how they do that. That's kind of one of the main protocols, I guess. And then if you've got anything really serious, I guess you go back to the doctor.
Yeah. So, kind of from like the racer's perspective, does it feel like there's more awareness and that around concussions that are being dealt with better these days? Because there seems to be a lot more going on with it.
Yeah, I think
awareness
so.
of the whole issue.
Yeah, so I know there's been some going ons at the start of this year, particularly. I think it seems like all of a sudden there is more awareness, but at the same time, some of the goings on at the start of the year, were kind of, in terms of things going in the right direction, perhaps not so great. But then again, at least it's being recognised now. And I think the fact that it's kind of been presented as a bad thing, going back to riding straight after a head injury, I think that's a good thing now. I think if the stigma can be changed, so there's a bad stigma about coming straight back after it, then that could turn it into a good thing, because then people aren't going to want to do it.
No.
So I think, the thing is, like, obviously we're an extreme sport, and a lot of extreme sports athletes, I guess, are they're pretty tough and quite hardy. So they want to get straight back at it. And I think the issue is, like a concussion, any head injury, it's not quite the same as like a broken bone. Like if you want to ride with a broken bone, then there are risks involved. Like you might re-damage it or cause worse injury, or something like that. But it's just a different sort of thing to a head injury, isn't it?
I think with a head injury, I think obviously you've injured the bit that's making the decisions for you. So if you're trying to make a decision on whether it's safe for you to race a mountain bike down the side of a hill very fast,
definitely,
you're not in the best place to do it. There's been a really Andrew Needling on his Moving the Needle podcast. I reckon anyone who wants to know about this sort of thing, he sat down with a guy from Scotland who's like the Crankworks kind of medical officer type dude.
Yeah, I've started listening to that today, actually.
Really good podcast. I think anyone who's kind of getting a bit more interested in this, or maybe just wants to hear a bit more about it, I'll definitely go and say give it a listen, because it's a really interesting kind of behind the scenes and what they've got in place. And he's part of the thing for him was it's taking the decision away from the athletes themselves. It's kind of
I think that's the main thing.
It's like, so they don't have they don't feel any pressure, and B, they might not make a bad decision themselves. It's just taking that part out of it, which is just better for everyone, because no one wants someone to go down in a slopestyle comp and then come back to it trying to do all that stuff when you're not firing on all cylinders. It's
no, and then like they were mentioning as well with the second hit stuff, I think that's the quite scary bit. I remember the time before when I had a concussion, I kind of looked up what was going on with that, and it was quite scary, actually. So I think that's the big thing. Avoiding that second hit too soon is the one, isn't it?
Which, if you jump in the gun a bit, is by going back too quick, is you're just ramping the chance of that up considerably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Well, you've been riding a while. I expect. I guess back when you were a lot younger, there was probably quite a different view on it.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I remember people just like, oh yeah, I had a concussion in practice, but I'm here in qualifying, blah blah blah. It was just different times back in the late 90s, early noughties. Like very different times indeed. Just in general, really, not just like the mountain bike bubble. Yeah, I think there's a bit more of the kind of sort of dick swinging macho stuff with extreme sports, but just general kind of society's actual choose towards stuff. I certainly think just for athletes back then, you probably wouldn't even call themselves athletes at the time. It was almost like a badge of honour thing. I think it's just that kind of shift away from being, oh, I'm a hero, to actually I might be quite badly damaged. Do you mind if I just take 5? It's not really.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's the difference, isn't it, with the brain injuries and some other types of injuries.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely not recommended to go and ride with like another sort of bad injury, is it? But
No, exactly.
your head controls your whole body, doesn't it? So
Exactly. And you only get one of them. Like,
yeah, that's it. That's the main one, isn't it? If you mess, you know, something else up, you know, if you've got just a limb fracture or something, I guess you can kind of get away with it sometimes. You know, it's not really the thing to do, but
no,
these top
but
guys,
some
racing
cases
for the overalls and stuff, they
Yeah.
want to get it done, don't they? I know.
No, exactly.
Last year, I think Bruni started the season with a broken foot or something, and I think it was him that won the overall last year, wasn't it? So yeah, kind of shows you can get away with it.
Yeah, I think it's
but yeah,
just
with your head, you don't take those risks, do you? It's just not
with
sensible.
with like, I don't know, like a lower leg or an arm or a wrist, you might, you can probably get away with strapping it up and doing a few more painkillers or something before a run, but
not recommended, definitely.
no, not ideal, but yeah, when it's your head and that's controlling everything else, and in terms of that, obviously your head is the bit that's controlling everything. If you've got there's no difference really between like the slopestyle guys mistiming a trick off something massive to somebody threading the needle through a wood section at race pace. You can't have those kind of margins for error. It just puts everything at risk. And like we say, the second hit thing within that window after the first one, you just can't be taking risks with that. So it's good to see things being treated a bit more sensible. And
I think you definitely see certain like different attitudes, don't you? Yeah, and it's good that people are kind of, some people now are just taking the view of just chill, take the time off. You're not going to do yourself much good, are you? If you
no, it's interesting to see that Finn went off with the Red Bull guys, I think. To get a real see where he's at kind of thing, and I'm not quite sure what's going on with.
They've got those sort of facilities as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the Red Bull guys are quite lucky. I don't know how alone they are in that. I know obviously they get a very certain well-funded support network with Red Bull sponsorship. I don't know how much of that is available to, or something similar to, other racers who are not Red Bull sponsored.
I'm not sure about that.
No, but it's interesting to see how Reece Wilson's just said he's going to be sitting out kind of indefinitely because he's not quite right. And I don't know if that is a concussion related thing or whether it's something else, but the fact that he's had a couple, it seems to be kind of on the same page in terms of how.
Yeah, you don't want to make the assumptions and tell the story for him, do you? But I think he's a pretty sensible guy. He's quite clever. I get the impression if he's not feeling right, he's he knocks it on the head.
Exactly.
Or at least doesn't take the risks to go out there and do anything silly. I think he seems like a pretty switched on guy in terms of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's good. So, how are you at? Where are you at now then? In your kind of coming back to racing?
I'm nearly there actually. Hoping end of this week I might get back on the downhill bike. Most I've done in terms of getting on a bike is, so I've got on a watt bike and I've gone for a very kind of easy going spin on a trail bike. Just kind of in terms of like easy going as in, just avoiding anything too crazy really. So literally just the other day went out on the road and on some paths and that was about it. Not really done anything in terms of riding proper tracks yet. Friday I'm planning to get out on the downhill bike and then see how I'm feeling. Plan is to go to Lenzerheide, but I'm going there giving myself the option that if I'm not feeling it in practice, I can just
You can
kind
just
of
leave
back
it.
off the qualifying. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the approach I'm taking to that. Obviously, I'd love to race if I'm feeling good, but I don't want to put myself out there to have to do it. I want to give myself the option.
Good stuff. Lenzerheide then. Let's move on to looking forward to that one. It's kind of making the assumption that we're all good to go and you're feeling good enough to race it. How have you found Lenzerheide before? Like how's that one?
I think so. Last time I was there, that was my first year in junior. I think the top part I was quite liking because it was, it almost seemed a bit like the Welsh tracks, like a bit kind of gravelly or slaty and dugout. So yeah, that bit was pretty good. And then that was the first year they had. Have you seen the really steep bit they've got there? They've just got like a really short, steep chute. That was the first year they had that, and it was wet in practice.
Yeah.
So that was that was so sketchy. But no, it's pretty good. But I crashed first corner in qualies, so I didn't qualify there the year I went. So that wasn't so good. I don't really know what to make of the track, to be honest. Some parts are a bit weird to ride, but I think you've just got to get on with it, haven't you? Everyone's got to ride the same track, try and make a good job of it.
Yeah.
I was actually just watching there was a course preview I'd seen on Pink Bike. I was just watching that before coming on here. Stefan Garlicki had done a course preview, I think. So I was just watching that.
I'm going to pull this up on my mobile.
I got about halfway through it. I'm assuming it's just kind of the same track as usual.
Yeah, I don't know the previous one well enough, to be honest. I think where I've always some of the older track like Montserrat, Fort William, etc., kind of sort of generally familiar with the overall ones, but Lenzerheide hasn't quite clicked on my radar.
Yeah,
I kind of don't instantly think. Even like Maribor, I think, oh yeah, that's got this, that, and the other. And Lenzerheide doesn't have any, for me, I don't know if I think it is just me, it doesn't really have any kind of distinct character for me. Like, it doesn't kind of stand out as a track on the calendar. Obviously, like Leogang has very much cemented itself with certain sections and stuff.
Yeah, I think especially the last couple of years it has, hasn't it, with that new wood section.
Yeah. How was that the last time you rode? Because you rode it last year, didn't you?
Leogang.
Leogang, no, year before, was it?
I did race it last year and the year before,
Because
a lot harder than it looks on the live feed, that's for sure. Really hard going.
Because that was fresh last year, wasn't it? That steep wood section.
It was the year
before? It was the year
World
before,
Champ year. It was fresh, yeah. I think both years it was pretty tough, and I think this year as well, pretty tough in the woods as well.
I don't think just weather related as well. I mean, it certainly didn't help by any stretch, but
no,
it's just the hard section, whatever.
I think if it was bone dry for like a week in advance, maybe it would be all right. But yeah, again, it was a mudder. It looked like the guys were going a bit faster this year, I have to say. So I don't know whether it's kind of dug to some slightly harder stuff or not, but it did look like maybe the top guys this year were going a bit faster. I can't be sure. But yeah, they were hooking through the woods this time, some of them, and I
was surprised where people appeared to be finding grip because it looked insane to me, that one.
Yeah. So the other thing is, so that wood section, it kind of looks like it's just the mud that you're fighting, like the mud and the roots. What you probably wouldn't realise is how deep all the holes are.
Yeah.
So I remember, you think of Leogang, a lot of it has been quite smooth and bike parky, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember World Champs year, like my arms were just ruined in the end because the holes just dig out so much there. Especially like once you get to the woods as well, you're maybe a bit tight and worn out, and then maybe breaking in the wrong places and in the holes and stuff, and it's super tiring. So
I mean, you can see from just the hits people are taking on the live feed that it was pretty savage, and even the ones that are carrying speed and not getting caught up in the holes, there's still ones that are really catching them out.
That's it.
When it's
And they are the best in the world as well.
exactly, and when that course is changing that much, because obviously the rain had kind of stopped, so it wasn't like loose mud. It was it appeared to be a lot stickier, and then obviously that's over 200 riders racing, or however many it is. That is a lot of changes run to run. Like from, I imagine, pre-race practice, the course by the time you get to your race run is going to be completely different. Everything's going to be shifting around a bit. Holes are either going to worsened, moved, deepened.
Yeah, that's the thing at a World Cup.
It's just insane how you cope with that.
Yeah, when you get a bit of moisture at a World Cup, I think the tracks just get ripped up. Even like Fort William, even there, like I think there was just so much rain, it became saturated, and that's when the holes come out. And Leogang's going to be a lot worse for that, I would have thought, just because of the type of dirt they've got there. Certain bits, I'd imagine it'll get wet, get ripped up, and then when it's hard pack again, it's bound to be so rough. I was listening to some post-race podcasts actually on Leogang. And they were saying how like cupped out bits were and stuff like that. So I would have thought it was pretty hard work there.
It looked it. Just nothing about racing that track looked nice. I mean, even obviously the top bit's a lot. Well, not the very top bit, but it's got sort of some bike park sections in it. But even racing that style of track at World Cup pace is, to me, absolutely terrifying. Because
I'm sure those guys had ripped that track out pretty good as well by that point.
Yeah, the top bit looked disgusting. Some of those horrible off-camber rutty bits down to fire crossings and all the rest of it, and then sort of a bit of respite just bombing through bike park jumps and then hurtling into the most disgusting woods ever seen for some time. Not as many people seem to be struggling with that big jump at the sort of the bottom as you came out of the woods. There's the big jump.
I don't know. So
over it didn't seem to be as much of an issue this year.
Yeah, around that sort of time, I was still trying to stay off my phone a fair bit, just because of my head. So I kind of missed quite a lot of the media at that point, and then I kind of caught up, watched some of the vital stuff, and the winning run, Matt's winning run. I think some of the top guys maybe. But yeah, I think from what I know, there were still some big incidents on that jump. Whether I don't think I've seen all of them, but I did see a video earlier actually of someone coming up short and then getting, the kind of arse between the seat and the tyre. And that didn't look very fun. No. I think it was still catching people out. So I think the issue there is you're coming out of a wood section. It's quite a tricky corner before there, and if you come out, say unclipped or not carrying enough speed, you make it quite challenging for yourself. I've had the same issue before. Come down there unclipped.
Yeah, you had a big one on you when you were on pro.
A big 50-50 and then over the bars. But that's the issue. And sometimes it gets a bit sticky leading up to it, and I remember
seeing people with shovels and things out. I think probably the World Champs year, literally the immediate run into the jump, getting a bit kind of tidied up.
So that's another thing there,
because it's just right to me. It's just right out the woods, and then boom, you got this massive gap. It was a nice little bit of setup for it, fine, but the fact it's straight out of it.
Yeah, usually at World Cups, I think there's kind of the way it is usually there's no maintenance done to the tracks, I'd say, just because it's kind of like once it's taped out, that's the track. You've got to go with it. I think Leogang's must be one of the few places where they do actually maintain that wood section, just because it gets so bad. I think they dig some of the ruts out.
Yeah. Do you think the Spirit's a fresher section that they kind of have to adjust it as it goes, just because of wear and tear it gets at a World
Maybe.
Cup?
I don't know. I mean, the ruts get so deep there. I don't know whether there's rules on changing tracks and stuff once they're, once you've practiced on them, but I guess it maybe makes sense there as long as it's done like overnight and then everyone gets to ride it the next day, and then
Not
as long as they're not
like A and
changing
B
it,
practice or anything.
yeah, as long as they're not something, I think somewhere like that is probably okay. I'm generally of the opinion once the tracks, once practice has started on a track, you shouldn't really be changing it very much unless there's like a serious safety issue or something like that. But
no, that makes sense.
I don't know. That's something that I'll leave to them. They can do what they want.
Yeah, exactly. You've got other things to be worrying about in some ways.
Yeah,
on a race weekend. So how's the bike going? Obviously, up to the run up to assuming obviously that when you got the concussion, you're kind of assuming that you're going to be at Ling again. How's the kind of getting on with the bike? Have you made any more kind of setup changes or little bits to it?
So
is it
we were
pretty
just
much
in Champery. I changed brakes actually. We've been given some brakes, some Hayes brakes to try. But the main reason we were there was to test some other stuff. Change the size of something at the back of the bike. I don't know what I'm meant to be saying and not saying. We were going to stick a smaller, a smaller rear wheel in, and we had some parts to make that work properly with the bike. Also, a reach adjust headset. I wanted to just play with the reach of the bike. Those parts didn't arrive, unfortunately, though. So kind of just ended up just having a go on the brakes, doing a bit of tweaking, but not a lot. So yeah, that was about all I was trying there, just trying to get used to them.
So which brakes are there? Is it Dominions or something? I can't remember. What
Dominion A4s it would be, yeah.
Yeah. How what's your initial impressions on those? Because I'll be honest, I know not much about them.
That's the issue again. Probably forgotten mostly, yeah. No, I think they were pretty good. They've got a nice feel to them, but I can't really remember much of the productive stuff that I did that day. So yeah, I'm not much used there.
Okay. So so if you can't, I say worst case scenario, you can't make Lenzerheide. I don't even know how you pronounce the damn thing. That's pretty bad.
I think it's Lenzerheide, but it doesn't really matter, does it?
Not really.
Yeah.
We're English. Everyone expects us to mispronounce everything.
Yeah, the Swiss people might care, but hopefully not too much.
Yeah. I suppose if you have to take a back seat from Lenzerheide, how do you kind of deal with that kind of mindset and approach the whole season? Because I imagine that obviously it's not ideal having to miss another round, but at the same time, it's your head we're talking about. So it's kind of
that's
you
it.
Don't want to be taking the risk.
This time around, there's actually it's back-to-back races. So Valnord's the weekend after.
Yep.
So probably, I'm guessing, like if I'm kind of fit to go again, I can just try again in Valnord.
Yep.
If again I'm not going to be able to race, then got a few more weeks, and then it's Montsanan and Snowshoe. I'd hope by then I'll be all right. But we'll just have to see how things go. I think. Yeah, that's it.
So kind of skipping ahead a bit to Valnord, it looks like they've moved track location slightly and gone to a different track, and it seems to be a similar version or a different version of like some of the older ones. I think sort of the versions maybe used kind of 09, 2010, something along those lines.
Yeah, so you'd probably be more familiar with them than me, actually.
I saw a bit like that.
Yeah, I saw the initial stuff. I can't remember. It was a while back. something had got posted on Pink Bike about this new track they were going to use.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, after watching the videos that were put up with it, and the POV video, I did think like it's a bit kind of flat and bike parky turns for a World Cup. And then I saw just recently some more stuff's got put up. There was a race there the other week, I think, and it looked really, really good, the new track. And that was, I guess I was kind of hoping, like, they've done such a good job on that old track, the one they've been racing most previously at the World Cups. I was kind of hoping, like, surely these track builders are going to be good enough, and surely they'll do a good job. And it looks like they have done. So yeah, I've seen the videos of this new one, and it looks really good, especially like once it's had some bikes on it. I think it'll get quite rough as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it looks pretty cool to me.
Good stuff. I mean, yeah, it seems to be that usual thing. I think like people jumping to conclusions. Oh, it's the older track. It's not going to be as good, because when it got to the steeper side, everyone was like, "Oh, this is the one."
It's one of them. I think I had a bit of a look through the Pink Bike comments after watching that as well. Like, there's bound to be some haters, and I think there was. But yeah, this one looks pretty good. The most recent stuff I've seen of it looks good.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to seeing it, to be honest. I'd rather give it the benefit of the doubt. I haven't been completely up to speed on all of the latest insights into what's going on that track, but I'm sure it'll be a good race anyway. I'm a little bit gutted because I was planning to go out to that race, but thanks to the cost of living crisis and not updating my passport in time, I'm not going out for to watch Feyenoord this year. So
shame. It's very nice there, I do have to say. It's a good place for a World Cup.
Yeah, because I've been out to see out to the Lord's one. I thought, well, let's go out to the mountains this time. But yeah, it's not happening this year. But never mind, I'll be back at some point, I'm sure. So
hopefully so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be running around with the microphone in the pits, being even more annoying.
Than
I was at Lord's, which was pretty.
If you can get the podcast to kick off.
Yeah, I'll be. Yeah, exactly. Anyone wants to pay for my flights? Sponsors come this way. Whatever. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it's getting late. I think we'll wrap it up now. It's good to see that you're on the way to getting back to racing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
maybe something, an idea for the future. If you could get like someone that knows a bit more what they're doing on the head injuries.
I'm going to make some inquiries. It would be good to get some actual concussion specialists.
That's it, because I mean, the pair of us waffling on.
Exactly. I'm no doctor.
we know what we've been told.
And I'm not a racer. It's not my job. I mean, like, obviously.
See, I can only give the I guess the racer's point of view, but I can't really offer much in terms of the whole, I don't know, physiology
behind it, I guess. Yeah,
science behind it, and all of the technical stuff that's going on there. So yeah, don't want to try and say too much. I don't know what I'm on about.
No, well, everyone's going to figure out that I am a complete idiot if they haven't already. But hey, cool. All right then, Luke. I reckon we'll arrange a catch up. Probably if it's going to be a double header, I reckon probably catch up straight after Feyenoord. I reckon if we can. We'll see how it goes, and then
hopefully some more exciting stuff to talk about.
If you have a bit more actual inside the between the tape.
That's it
from you on that one. Awesome. All right then, Luke. Well, good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you very much.
The rest of the season.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no problem at all, man. No problem. We shall see you next time.
Sweet.
Take it easy,
Thank
buddy.
You.
No worries, man. Bye-bye. Okay, people, that was it. First internet Zoom conference call, whatever you want to call it, Gromcast. Hopefully the video and audio are going to be up to scratch. Apology if it's not quite as good as the audio has been on the previous two. Hopefully I will get that better as time goes on. If you want to keep direct tabs on what Luke is up to, you can follow him on Instagram at Luke_Williamson14. And you can also check out the 555 Gravity Racing Team on Instagram as well. You'll find them fairly easily on there. And also check out at Royal Mountain Bikes, see what's going on with that with that bike. To drop any little nuggets in on that one. It's quite an interesting story to follow that one well into it. Okay, so we're going to have more guests coming up on the podcast soon. I'm actually going away on holiday, so it might be a little bit of a break in proceedings, but I'll be back soon with more faces, more chat, and all of the good stuff. Until then, see you later.